Here are some problems about percents. And let's just see if we can read this first one and figure it out. It says, during the hockey season, Monique scored goals on 7% of the shots she took. If she scored 35 goals, how many shots did she take? In any word problem, I think a crucial thing to do first is to figure out what we're looking for. We're looking for how many shots she took. So let's call that X. Then if we look back at this problem, it says she scored goals on 7% of the shots she took. This of is usually multiplication. So we're going to have 7% times the number of shots she took, and that's our X. And that is going to equal the goals she scored. So it says she scored goals on 7% of the shots. So that's going to equal this 35. Now, of course, to actually multiply a percent, we have to convert this to a decimal. To convert a percent to a decimal, you move the decimal point 2 places to the left. So this is going to be 0.07. So 0.07x equals 35. To solve this now for x, we would divide by 0.07. Over here, we're going to get x. Here we have 35 divided by 0.07. I would just bring up my calculator for that. 35 divided by 0.07, and that is 500. So she took 500 shots. Now, I think it's useful in problems like this to always go back and ask yourself, does this make sense? So she scored 35 goals. That represents some small percentage of the total shots she took. So the total shots she took should be quite a bit larger than 35. We came up with 500. Yeah, that seems to make sense. Let's try another one. This is a problem about taking discounts on items for sale, and some of these can be a little bit tricky. It says, during the sale, the price of the video camera was marked down 23%. The sale price of the video camera was $967, so what was the original price? So again, looking at the end of the problem to see what we're looking for, that's important first step. So let's call original price X. We know what the sale price was. How did they get to that sale price? Well, what they did is they took 23% of that original price and subtracted it. So 23% of, which means multiply, the original price is what they took away from the original price. So really it's going to be X, the original price, minus this 23% of the original price. That is going to equal $967. That's a little bit tricky to set up. So the original price minus the discount equals the sale price. So let's convert this percent to a decimal. So we'll move it over 2 places so we get 0.23. So we're going to have x minus 0.23x equals 967. Well, and this is 1x. So 1 minus 0.23 is going to be 0.77x. And finally, we're going to have to divide here. So dividing both sides by 0.77. So we'll bring out that calculator again. 967 divided by 0.77. And looks like we're getting 1255.84 as our original price of the camera. All right, let's try one more. So this one says, the sun coming out from behind the clouds caused the number of people swimming to increase by 310%. It's important to know what that means exactly. There's a certain number of people swimming here, and then when the sun comes out, that number gets added to by 310% of that number, so roughly 3 times that amount and a little bit more. So we're going to look for a number that's a little bit over 4 times the original, because you'd have those 4 chunks. So it says if 270 swimmers were there before the sun came out, how many were there after the sun came out? Well, so we start with 270. We have that original 270, and then this is 270 times 310%. And then we're going to add those two together because the original people out there didn't go away, so we're adding the 2 chunks together. So what's 310% of 270? Well, we can move the decimal place here. So it's going to be 3.1. So 270 times 3.1 plus the original 270. Let's calculate that. So 270 times 3.1, that's 837 plus 270, so that's 1107. And yeah, that's almost or a little bit over 4 times what we started with. So that makes sense. So those are some word problems with percents.